my good friend Phil Rivera, pipe maker extraordinaire.
All right, let's get this party started. Is my mic off? There we go. All right, there we go. I got it fixed. It was just acting a little funky. It was acting a little funky tonight. That's okay. That's all right. Cold weather has hit, so I'm smoking something a little spicy. Something good in it. Look, Phil, it's an irregular kind of week, okay? Actually, it's been kind of regular with the wife out of town all the time. I do what I can. It's how it goes. Chat in there first. Ooh, there's a... Yeah, I love these guys. There we go. Killed that spider. Good to see everybody. Chat in there first. Todd, Robert, Chip. Good to see you. Phil, Andrew,
Mike from Briar Blues here.
Mike.
Welcome to the dark side.
Mike. Good Lord.
It's Miller time.
No, it's not.
All right, Cincinnati, it is time for this town to get down.
WKO Piper in Cincinnati. Yum. I am chooching on some Samuel Gowith Navy flake. This is good stuff. I gotta show y'all the Daniel Reeves. Good to see you, my friend. See if I can find a good piece. Oh, there we go. I wonder if I can. I wonder if. Y'all can see any of the sparkle on this thing. I guess not. Let's see. What about this sucker? Woo! Nope, that's too bright. There we go. Stop focusing on the freaking thing. Stop focusing on me. See if I can do it there. Anyways. Either I got a light that's too dull or a light that's too bright. Anyways, what I was trying to say is this sucker is shining like crazy. Whitest fingers I ever seen. That's okay. Good stuff though. Good stuff. It's shining. It's like Christmas. I think this is what he was trying to say, Andrew.
Welcome to the 21st century, Buck Rogers.
Sea Smoke Pipes, welcome aboard. Good to see y'all. Good to see you indeed. But yeah, it sparkles like crazy. I wish I had a better way of showing you that. But man, it is sparkling like crazy. Good stuff indeed. You know, I do have a way. I'm gonna try this. You know what? Hey, screw it. Whatever. Let's try something new. Let's try something new. I'm gonna try and show y'all this way. We're just... Watch it. The other way. Try this way. Just to see. Well, you know, right. Not quite a centerfold. Ow! God, I just kicked the crap out of that. That hurt. There we go. I don't know. Did it show up at all? Was it? I mean, I can't tell because, you know, the visuals behind the camera are slightly different. Chew it like jerky. I mean, it's not soft.
I'm getting really sick of guys named Todd.
Tasty though. That's what I was trying to show, Sea Smoke. I couldn't tell if it was showing any crystals or not. Looks like it was showing a little bit. Not easy to show that at that angle. It's not a super wide angle. It's a 30 mil. It's a 50 mil on this camera. Nice, Sea Smokes. Almost a high time, sir. Wow, golly. Yikes. Not what I was going for, you know? Right, Phil, which based off the crop factor makes it a 50 millimeter. I mean, at least that's what Sony says. Roll it. Todd Bear, good to see you. Todd, good to see you. Well, I just went by what it said, Phil. It said you had to use the little equation. They said if I did a 50 millimeter, it would be all weird. Yeah, I'll let you take it up with Sony. I ain't doing it. I'm drinking. Oh, yeah. Goodness gracious. How's everybody? And just for those wonderful observances of the day, I wonder if I need to be a little closer. That's probably what it was last time. I don't know what it is. Sometimes my mic's hot, sometimes it's not. I don't know. If I put it there, then, you know, because like last time it was blowing it up through the roof. So I don't know what, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going with it. Happy American Recycles Day. That was actually a very pleasant retro. A lot of Kias prominent. But very mellow. A bit tangy. Not very peppery, just a little bit on the front of the tongue. Not a bunch of sourness like an English blend, but there is absolutely a touch of sourness. Maybe like a sourdoughishness. They always say you'll never run out of landfill. Twangy. Also, happy American Enterprise Day for all of you that like to rent cars. Yep. 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 It's also Day of the Imprisoned Writer. Does anybody know what that's about? It's also George Spelvin Day. Is that the Imprisoned Writer? I don't know. I would love to see Mike Hunt. Oh no, that's like Ligma. Dang it. Dang you, Phil. Dang you, Phil. You caught me in my Ron Burgundy moment where I just read everything. since he thinks he's 10 king. I love to write day, so it's an I love to write day. Happy 8 billion people day. Interesting. I can't even say that name, Chad. I'll let you do that if you join the Zoom. National Bunt Day, B-U-N-D-T. I believe, isn't that a pastry? National Clean Out Your Refrigerator Day. I like, does anybody else just kind of wait till there's a smell and then you have to hunt down the smell and then you just toss everything? I've done this. I've done this. National Entrepreneurship Day. National Philanthropy Day. I feel like some of these are repeats. I've seen these being days a lot. Oh, here we go. Here's a good one. Here's a good topic for you. Bunt cake. That's what I thought. Eat mop. Interesting. How about it is National, we'll get to this one in a second. National Spicy Hermit Cookie Day. Has anybody had a Spicy Hermit cookie? I've never heard of a Spicy Hermit cookie. Pack your mom's lunch day. She wasn't here, so it wasn't packed. I'm not going to repeat anything else you say, Phil. Now that you fooled me once, shame on you. Fooled me twice. Oh, man, I suck. Parents' Day. Oh, happy Parents' Day to all you parents. Gotta love them little chillins. Rock Your Mocks Day. What are like moccasins? Is it moccasins? Rock Your Mocks Day? Where's our Canadians at? Our Canadians are out there that know about the mocks. Steve Irwin Day. Is there a reason there's a Steve Irwin Day that I'm not aware of? Oh, I wonder if I can do a smoke ring with this. Almost. Try it again. Not very thick. They're getting sucked up pretty quickly. I'm not sure you do see smoke pipes. There's one. There's one. There's one. Nailed it. Nailed it. Yeah, baby. Woo. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I appreciate it. Yes, thank you. Why does Steve Irwin have a day? I don't get that. Does Steve Irwin need a day? I felt like I nailed that. I felt like I nailed that smoke ring. Hugh Changus, happy birthday. Miles long. Okay. That's set up to oppression and the right to hear information. Okay, got it. Understood. And here's one for all of you out there, all you brand lovers. National Raisin Bran Cereal Day. All right, here we go. Here we go. Top three cereals. Not warm cereals, not malted meal, not porridge, not oatmeal. Milk and cereal. Normal milk and cereal. I will tell you right off the bat, mine are Frosted Mini Wheats, Fruit Loops, Raisin Bran. Ooh, Rice Krispies are good. Grape Nuts are good. I always had to pour sugar on them. They're not grapes though. I was one of those weird kids that really enjoyed Raisin Bran. As long as I could get it in there really quickly. Hot grape nuts. I have never heard of that. I guess you're just cooking it in the milk. Is that what it is? You're just cooking it in the milk, huh? By the way, it is November 15th, and the website I use is actually posting additional information, but it seems like there's none for tomorrow, which is fine because we're off tomorrow. Interesting. Word of the day is Batman. It is a noun. Connotation is military. It is a servant or valet to an army officer. That is a Batman. Shakes are good. Rice Krispies, I just, they were okay to me. I think a fourth runner-up would be Frosted Flakes. All the healthy ones. Special K. I'm old. I love Raisin Bran. Total. I don't think I've ever had Total or Special K.
job, eating a steady diet of government cheese, and living in a van down by the river.
I only eat cereal as a before bed snack these days. I see that. Yeah. I mean, I've never, little man likes that too. He's big on that. Ganj got the word of the day yesterday. So I'm curious who's going to get the word of the day today. Batman. Alfred was Batman's Batman. Yeah. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. Andrew used to like frosted mini wheats growing up. Corn puffs too. Yep. Honey Nut Cheerios. Yes, the boy loves some Honey Nut Cheerios. So does my dad. Those are pretty good. You're not wrong there. I could just eat those though, like without milk. I felt like those were so good it didn't matter. National Nurse Practitioners Week this week, by the way. Honey Nut Cheerios. Sandy Duncan, almost Andrew. National Traffic Incident Response Week. There we go. National Young Readers Week. That's a good one. And Operation Room Nurse Awareness Week. Sounds good. I got nothing wrong with that. Famous birthdays. Lily Aldridge, American model. Chad Kroeger, Canadian singer-songwriter from Nickelback. Okay. Petula Clark, English singer-songwriter and actress, known for her hit Downtown. Born 1932. Some famous passings in 1958. Tyrone Power passed, American actor, singer, and producer of The Mark of Zorro. Oh, in 2005, Princess Sayako, the daughter of Emperor Akihito of Japan, gives up her imperial title to marry Yoshiki Kuroda. Kuroda. Something like that. Quote of the day is, always be a little kinder than necessary. Which is perfectly fine with me. Seeing Sandy Duncan play Peter Pan. Count Chocula. Love it. Golden Grams. There we go. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Also, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. In armies where officers typically came from the upper class, it was not unusual for a former Batman to follow the officer into later civilian life as a domestic servant. Fascinating. He was his butler. This is true. Holiday cereals just hit the shelves at Walmart. I got asked to buy all of them, but let them get Rudolph's cereal. Says it tastes like hot chocolate. Fascinating. Oh, Boo Berries. There we go. What about Fruity Pebbles? That's another one. Yeah, they're all heavy on the fruit diet in that regard. Not that I seen. Captain Crunch. Love a little fiberglass in the mouth.
What the?
I mean, basically, Fruity Pebbles were like a Rice Krispie treat for the most part. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Doing it wrong. It's in the house. Good to see you, sir. Used to hack the phone network. Wow. Captain Crunch stripes reveal him to be Commander Crunch. Okay. I'm all right with that. Every once in a while, he wants to pull rank. That's fine. I get that. I get that. I get that for sure.
Do you know who I am? I'm kind of
Go
a big
vegan.
deal.
Nope.
People
Hey,
know
Ron.
me.
We know you.
My apartment smells
you,
of
sir.
rich mahogany.
I see you indeed. On this day, by the way, Sony releases the PlayStation 4 game console in 2013. I don't see how that's really news. Xi Jinping becomes the General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party in 2012. 2001, Microsoft launches the Xbox. Now that's history. That thing was massive, and they had the dinner plate controllers. It was hilarious. In 1971, Intel releases their 4004, which is the world's first commercial single-chip microprocessor. In 1966, Gemini 12 splashes down safely in the Atlantic Ocean. What do you call a commander that commands a ship? I feel like this is a trick question. I feel like it's a trick question. Ron? Okay. Okay. Call him Ron. Okay. 1933, Thailand held their first election. In 1920, the League of Nations holds their first assembly in Geneva, Switzerland. Interesting. In 1777, after debating for 16 months, the Continental Congress approves the Articles of Confederation. Fascinating. Very, very fascinating. Let's see. 1994, Crazy Sexy Cool, the second album by TLC, is released, featuring hits Creep and Waterfalls. In 1956, Love Me Tender, Elvis Presley's first movie, premieres at the Paramount Theater in New York City. 2018, Mariah Carey's 2001 album Glitter reaches #1 on the iTunes. Was it Mariah Carey that was singing at the New Year's event like a couple of years back that was just like freaking smashed? Was that Mariah Carey or J-Lo? One of the two. You still have your original Xbox, Cincy? I mean, that's a classic. Robert knows all. Captain. What do you call a doctor that graduated bottom of his class? Yep, that's true. Also, in this day in sports in 2020, Lewis Hamilton wins the Turkish Grand Prix. In 1991, Ricky Pierce of the Seattle Supersonics begins his NBA free throw streak of 75 games. I mean, they're free throws. It's basically a layup.
Whereas I smoke just about anything.
Okay. I hadn't heard that one, I think, ever. I think that is the first time I have ever heard such things. Oh! Whatever. Close enough. Close enough. Close enough. Oh, wow. You know what? Just bite me. Let's see. Let's do a zoom. Not staying on late this time. Tain't happening. I am so tired right now because I'm going on like 4 hours sleep. Doing it wrong. There was some action on Smoking Pipe's website a week or so ago. I have not seen anything since. So your guess is as good as mine, and I keep a pretty good eye or two on it. And feel free to join in the party. Y'all like the, I finally fit in this shirt. Barely. I barely fit in this shirt. I don't really fit in this shirt. Barely. Yep. Just barely. Just barely. Chad, good to see you, sir.
Hello, Martin.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I am doing as much as I can do.
That's all you can do.
It's really all I can do.
If you do any more, you might pull something.
I've pulled several, and then the boy and I have BB practice tomorrow.
Have what practice?
BB. So both my kids started on BB. And then Haley progressed, and essentially what you can do is you start off with BB. Holy crap! Lord of mercy. Wow.
He's pretty.
But so both my kids start off on BB, and then you can progress to air rifle at the Olympic level, small bore, shotgun.
So this year, one of the girls that was shooting, or whenever the Olympics were, was it this year? Well, one of the girls shooting for the marksmanship was from my American Legion post.
Oh yeah,
she
Nice.
grew up in our. I shoot competitive service rifle, and she was on the kids' range right next to us. Getting all of her stuff down.
Well, I mean,
it didn't matter, but it was cool.
It's a lot of fun. Like I said, I did it with my daughter years and years ago, and I mean, we went to state. She got back up for nationals, and I was very happy the fact she stuck with it as long as she did, because it's not easy. I mean, there's 4 positions. You got prone, standing, kneeling, sitting. Kneeling is probably the toughest, but my daughter had she had a leg up, as in she could sit on her foot instead of having to kneel on a bag with all the pressure on her knee, and so she was always comfortable. And right now the boy's young enough to do that, but I don't think he'll be flexible enough when he gets older.
Yeah, they don't make us kneel. We just sit, prone, and stand.
Mm-hmm. Kneeling is the worst.
Do they have a wheelchair position?
No, but no.
Everybody in Asia sits, they squat with their knees up and their butt hanging 6 inches off the ground.
I mean, that's kind of like kneeling, except they basically put their it's almost like it, but it's not quite. It's not nearly that intense. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. I mean, they go all day. I mean, what's amazing is shooting something the size of a BB in a hole the size of a BB at 5 meters, which doesn't sound hard when you think of what 5 meters is, but then when you're looking down the iron sights and that's what you're using, it's there's so much room for error. Like, it's amazing some of the kids that just get really, really good at that. But the other part of it, the whole reason I have had my daughter do it and my son to do it, is it's through the 4-H club, and they do a great job of teaching firearm safety. And so every practice and every competition, they have to answer a series of 25 questions to earn points for their overall score. So it's a 500-point tournament every single time. And I'm like, I appreciate that, because my daughter still to this day knows exactly what to do if she sees a firearm on the table. She knows how to check action. She knows when it's in battery. She can just, I can lay one out, and every once in a while I do, but I can lay one out, and she'll call me in when she finds it, and again, it's always unloaded, but she'll find it, and then she'll tell me to come in there, and then we go through it.
Both long guns, but small arms. They have a lot of friends that are small arms instructors in the military, and they say women learn faster and follow instruction better than men do.
Most of this is all true.
They don't have their hormones raging.
It's 100% true for a couple reasons. One, they take instruction very, very well, and I feel like, and two, girls just have a massive chip on their shoulder to definitely prove themselves and compete in a mixed sport like that, and so they have to do it. Guys, on the other hand, get a very big head about what they think their ability is, and it's not really true. Their ability is absolutely there. They can hold the heavier firearm much steadier. There's so many things they can do, but the fact that they think the fact that they know they can do it makes them not do it.
Well, yeah, I would say guys are more along the lines of self-critiquing rather than taking instruction.
Especially if they've hunted and things like that.
Also,
strength,
evening, Philip.
Shooting, position shooting, sling shooting,
here from Picking
strength
and Piping.
doesn't matter at all.
No,
because you're doing everything using bone support.
Correct. And they use a sling as well, which, you know, that's a whole nother realm of the competition shooting, because it's basically a third arm. And the utilization of that makes a huge difference.
I appreciate the fact that they make them take that test as well. We've got a thing here in California. The process for buying a firearm, you have to complete something called a handgun safety certificate.
Mm.
And it's a 30-question test. And anybody that's been around firearms for a moderate amount of time, a year or 2 years, could probably ace that thing. Maybe miss one question here or there. I took it, I got 30 out of 30 on it because it's really basic stuff.
I mean, it used to be called hunter safety.
How many you can miss?
I love it. But
well,
I asked them how many you could miss and still pass that test and be able to purchase a handgun. He said, you can miss up to 7, but I despise selling a handgun to anybody that misses any on this test.
Well, especially if they're common sense.
It's like a forklift operator's license, you know, cost you $50 to get it, and be surprised how many people can't pass a forklift operator's license.
Right. Well, I mean, there will be questions on there, anything from, what's the first thing you do if you see a firearm on the table, to where can you find the caliber of a firearm, like all these, like they're great questions that revolve around.
Stick your finger in the barrel.
Right. Yeah. You look down there. Hello. No.
I seem to remember about half of these.
I mean, we've all seen cops doing demonstrations and they've shot them their own selves in the bloody leg.
I seem to remember about half of these questions were kind of counterpoint questions to the 4 basic safety rules. Like, should you fire a gun if you don't know what's beyond your target? Those kind of
questions. And stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, that's like rule number 1.
Yeah.
Always know what's behind your target.
Always. Well, I mean, and some of them too are like, they vary between handgun and long gun. Like when it's long gun, it's like, how should you carry a long gun? And it's either pointed down, well, it's pointed down with action open. That's the safest way. Pointed down, action open.
They're similar to a shotgun.
Right. Especially now, if it's a shotgun, it varies between a break barrel and, so I mean,
it's similar questioning, like when you have a long arm crossing over a fence or a barbed wire fence.
Yep. We have that question as well. I mean, there's hundreds of questions on this thing. And so every day they're quizzed, every practice, we go to practice every Wednesday, they're quizzed at practice. And then for scoring purposes, they have to take a quiz every single tournament, which, I mean, they're just all in there in a big classroom and they're all sitting there, doing their exams. And
problem with North Carolina,
because Cliff shoots competitively.
Mm-hmm.
Problem with North Carolina is when I took the concealed carry when we did the test, they're required by law to give you the answers. So when we took the test, all you had to do was flip the back of the book and you have all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like boot camp.
Yeah, you don't have to know anything.
Actually, that was the same way it was in Florida when we lived in Florida and I got my concealment permit down there. And the funny thing is that they have to, as part of the training, you have to discharge a firearm as well with supervision. And all they did is they had a trailer with the buttstock of a Marlin 22 long rifle, and they just went in there, they just cocked it, you grabbed it, shot straight into a bucket.
It's very different in Minnesota. Minnesota, they actually test you. You don't get all the answers, and you have to show proficiency shooting. So you've got to get, you're shooting at whatever man target thing. I forget the distance, and I just did this 2 years ago. But if you don't get the right number in the circles,
like 20 yards, something like that.
It's not even that hard in Georgia. In Georgia, it's like, what's your name? Okay, you get 5 points for putting your name. Good job.
Are you a bitch? And there's another 5 points.
Are you a U.S. citizen? Okay, maybe. All right, so that's fine. You get 2 points. And then they take your fingerprints and you're out the door and they mail it to you in a few weeks.
Give you another 2 points for having a pulse.
I mean, it's in Georgia, it's pretty easy. So, but it was amazing in Florida though, because we were in like entire field houses, like humongous gyms with just people lined up in chairs taking a massive class just to get, and it's like an hour long. We're in and out, and it's like, at some point, what's the point?
Yeah, Minnesota, they have a restriction on class sizes, and
I remember in boot camp right next door in San Diego to the Marine Corps, we'd go to the shooting range. It's all indoors in a big, massive warehouse, basically, and I remember, picking up the 45 and checking and everything and sitting it down and looking up. And I was like, oh my God, there's bullet holes in the ceiling. You could see daylight everywhere. I was like,
Jesus.
I hope this doesn't turn into one of those events.
Correct me if I'm wrong. If you're a constitutional carry state, which Georgia is now a constitutional carry state, that's just for open carry. I believe you still have to have a carry permit for concealment.
Not in North Carolina, anybody can open carry in North Carolina.
Right. I understand the open carry, but the whole reason that concealed permits came out to begin with is because, well, for one, this goes back to the Wild West. It was considered like uncouth. It was taboo to conceal. You were more likely a criminal.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so,
open carry is a visual deterrent.
So, in light of that, and
open carry is a target.
Well,
in many cases,
if you open carry and you're not like a crap load of people open carry,
correct,
then the criminal knows get you first.
Oh, for sure.
It's often also a political state.
Got it, country.
Security asked me to carry. I said, no, I'll carry a flashlight. I'm the only guy here. If they see me packing, they're just going to take me out.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, but better, and again, I always say, like, better to be an opportunity than a victim.
Yeah.
So,
but if everybody can open carry, then you're a deterrent.
Correct. Yeah. Or you have.
You doesn't mean they saw everybody else.
Or you have cities in Georgia, where in Kennesaw, Georgia, it's a law required if you're a homeowner to have a gun in your home.
I want to move to Georgia.
California, the process for that stuff is very bureaucratic, but at the end of the day, it seems to me the primary motive for the rules and regulations is just to earn money for the state.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hard to do at all if you're in the right county. Like if you're in my county, there's a whole lot of corruption. There's actually a big lawsuit going on.
I mean, in the last few years in California, it's been quite interesting because there was a northeastern California sheriff that was issuing constitutionally. and it's Gavin Newsom has been in the face of the Supreme Court not conforming it, and we just had decisions in New York as well that you must issue, and Gavin Newsom is still denying it.
New York's in the same spot. Matthew picking and piping. He said it took him 18 months to get his pistol permit. So, I mean, it's not easy depending on where you're at. And, you know, there's somebody was sending me statistics and things like that on shootings and everything else. And I said, okay, here's the thing about statistics. It all depends on the person running the study, what their point is. It doesn't mean it's all inclusive and that they're going to show the holes in their points. Those are things that get picked off by peer reviews. And so
nobody ever shows the statistics of crimes or deaths, potential deaths that were prevented by CCWs or open carry. All they typically put forth is the number of deaths by handguns, and they lump everyone into the same group.
Apparently Cincinnati walks around like he's Rambo. I think that's also how he gets his bourbons. I'm pretty sure.
And it was a couple of months ago, the FBI got called out because their stats don't talk about the number of criminal acts that were impeded by somebody that was carrying.
Well, you know, it's not really
without
recorded.
shooting or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not really recorded because for two reasons. One, most of the time criminals don't go and file lawsuits for somebody that pulls a gun on them. And
usually if you are pulling a gun on somebody, you're supposed to call the police immediately.
Sure. Yeah. But and again, the second part is if no shot has been fired and no charge is brought against you for brandishing a firearm, they just record it as somebody, you know, assaulted you. And so at that point, there is no record of how the assault was prevented or anything like that. They don't keep any records of that to begin with, which is kind of absurd.
You almost literally have to be backed into a corner in your own home by someone entering your home with another weapon.
Right. Which again,
there's
it's a
researcher there by the name of John Lott Jr. He's pretty much considered the preeminent researcher on gun violence and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's written several books. I think the last one he wrote was probably 10 or 12 years ago at this point. But in that book, I think it was called More Guns, Less Crime. He said, although the statistics are very hard to come by, he estimated upwards of 2 million instances per year of crimes being prevented by concealed carry owners or concealed carry.
Whether it was fired or not, just by brandishing.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And that's hard information to find because some of that stuff you're only going to find from like some cases and just news reports, you know, because Sam was saying, like they don't record that, which is
a lot of it too is they don't want it reported. A lot of times you have to dig for that.
Sure.
College archives or whatever archives.
Sure. But I mean, like for me, like do having more guns increase the inherent risk of being shot? Sure. At the same time, does having more guns also give you the inherent ability to defend yourself against somebody with a gun? Yes. And I'm just a big proponent of females carrying because no matter what, females cannot overpower the average male. It's just not, it just doesn't work.
Because someone carries a gun. I mean, law-abiding citizens aren't going around, you know, maybe accidental. If you could factor that in, it's probably less than 1%.
Accidental's pretty high, and again, accidental. I mean, look, Dick Cheney shot a guy in the face, so come on. But accidentals are high, but that's inherent risk. I mean, that's no different than going to a baseball game and getting hit in the face with a baseball.
No different than taking a flight or crossing the road.
Correct. So I mean, nobody's saying that there's not inherent risk to firearms. There's absolutely an inherent risk to firearms. But to me,
From the day
in the
we're born,
sense,
there's inherent risk just in being alive.
for sure, yes, there is risk walking out your door. But I ultimately think that if there's a populace that should be massively armed, it should be females. Just because to me, that's the great equalizer.
You hear that argument from people that are not gun friendly a lot of times about more guns are just going to create more problems, etc. There was a portion in one of those Lot books, I don't remember which book it was, and it was a really interesting statistic. And it said that concealed carry permit holders commit less violent crime than police officers do. And it was somewhere down, it was less than 1%. It was a really, really low number.
And I can tell you there's an insane amount of concealed permit carriers. Like I have two. I have one for Florida and one for Georgia.
I did have a friend that did the 18 months and like $500, $600 to get a CCW in California. And when he got it, he's stashing it under his seat in his car. I was like, dude, that he can't do that shit, you know. Then he calls me up and tells me, oh, I had a dream. It was like shit hit the fan and we were both on the roof and I sent you to get more ammo. I was like, dude, if I was on the roof with you, you were pinned, you know.
Yep.
And if I was going to get ammo, I ain't coming back. You know?
Yeah, if I was going to give advice to a potential new firearm owner, the two things I would say is learn as much about gun safety as you can and learn as much about the law in your state as you can. Those are the two things that you really, really need to know.
Well, and I would say join one of those membership clubs where they provide legal defense. You spend $20 a month, whatever it is.
Yeah, like the U.S. concealed carry. Yep.
Yeah.
The other
and
thing,
also get real comfortable with not talking to cops.
Yeah.
Well, and it depends on where you're at too.
Politely refuse other than what's necessary.
And understand too on your concealed permit where your reciprocity is for the corresponding states, because they don't fly everywhere.
Yep.
You know, one of the reasons I have Florida is also because I can conceal in Nevada. With the Georgia one, I can't.
Because some states you think you're good and you transport and you get pulled over and they find it, you're going down.
And you also have to remember, if you live in Georgia and it's a reciprocal in Mississippi, you still have to travel through Alabama to get there, and you have to know those laws as well.
Yep. So I mean, it's very much, you know, you got to be aware of your surroundings when you're doing that kind of stuff. And again, I have no problems with it. I'm a 2A advocate all day long. I'm probably more, I guess the term would be liberal than conservative on 2A, because I'm like, somebody wants a tank, give them a tank, and I have no problems with it either way.
Nothing will ruin your day more than a bunch of cops running around your car going weapon, weapon, weapon.
Yep. But I mean,
so
that's
getting back to McFly.
Yeah.
You got to take him to BB practice, or
I do.
And I'm kind of shocked they're doing BBs instead of pellets, but
so they do that. They do air rifle. So they do it in stages because of who can go to certain types of competitions, and so there's different age categories. At I think it's like 12, he can go up to air rifle, or he can continue on to BB for 3 more years. But he ages out at like 15.
Yeah, because I've always just thought of BBs as inherently
going like 450 foot per second. You can watch BBs go like this.
Well, see, like in the BB competition is amazingly fierce. So like the BBs that we use are precision machined. They're not what you get in a store. They're all precision machined, specific weight, everything. You know, we clean all of our firearms. We oil them all. The Daisy BB guns that we have, they're not Red Riders. their specific competition style. So I mean, and they're just iron sights, you know, elevation, windage. I mean, it's, you know, it's your typical
The little peep sight.
Yep.
Target
That's all it is. It's a little peep in the rear, and then we've got a ring and post in the front, and you know, and it's crazy. I mean, like one of the things, like for my daughter's gun, because again, as she got older, she had developed certain muscle, you know, strength in certain positions. So we ended up, to increase her accuracy, we ended up weighting both the stock and the butt of the rifle, and so I mean, literally, we just put molten lead in these things. Like it's just like the whole. And
my competition AR-15 weighs 14.5 pounds.
Yeah, something you would never carry.
Yeah, I've got lead in the float tube in front.
Yep.
Lead in the butt stock, and you do all that because it's steadier with higher weight.
So you remember the joke why they call it the M14, because the fucker weighs 14 pounds.
Oh, this is yeah, but nobody shoots the M14 anymore. It's all AR M16 types.
Yeah, all Armalite style. But I mean, yeah, it slows it down. Now again, it's give and take. So you don't have, like, it steadies your barrel momentarily, just like holding your breath steadies momentarily. You can't hold it indefinitely. You know, granted, you have a sling, so you get a little extra time on that.
But I do bone on bone. Everything's bone. Well, you know, so the way you're standing, I can stand and hold it for quite a while, but you don't do that because, you know, your wobble zone's going to get pretty big too.
Right. But for instance, my daughter has no hips and she's got shorter arms. So unfortunately, she's up much higher. So she's not bone on bone. She's trying to just get some love handle, if anything, in the same position. So
I'm familiar with that problem. I have Tyrannosaurus Rex arms too.
So do both my kids. And so like when they're in the sitting position and they're just, you know, crisscross applesauce, I mean, they're literally, you know, they're down on their thighs instead of being up where their knees are. And so they have to decide if they cross their legs enough to raise their knees, and it's each person has to just be very comfortable. And both my kids are lefties. They're right-handed riders, they're right-handed throwers.
Yeah.
But I train them both to be left-handed hitters, and I train them both to be left-handed shooters because they're both left eye dominant. So
now, fortunately, with service rifle, for sitting, you've got a lot more flexibility in how you sit. You can do, you know, cross the legs, or you can do, you know, what they call a figure four.
Yep.
You know, so you've got a few different things.
Good to see you. Well, the other unique thing that my daughter had that none of y'all would have ever noticed unless you knew her really well is that she has the ability to unfocus her right eye and make it go lazy temporarily. So she never needs any type of special, you know, like, you know, eyes or anything like that, or a screen to cover. She doesn't have to have that because she can actually unfocus her right eye and look straight down the barrel and everything's clear.
Yeah, I got the same thing. I can do whatever Brendan aiming because I can just ignore my left eye.
Yeah, but what'll happen with hers is that I can take my finger and bring it to her nose, and as soon as I get about 3 inches from her nose, her right eye will literally drift off to the side.
Princess decided to come out and visit.
Oh, it's funky. It's fun. Now she's supposed to get surgery for it at some point because it's actually not good, but it was good for her competition. So I mean, it's definitely not something we are going to have to correct in her life, because it's not something that we want her to have to deal with her whole life. But it was great for competition shooting.
You want to see a cool channel, Martin? Check out a guy called Forgotten Firearms on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Ian.
Oh, I've seen him. He shot some crazy things.
He did one recently. It was like the Scandinavian or the Viking challenge, and he had to be butt naked in like sub-zero temps.
Wow.
Running around shooting and shit.
Wow.
Hey, Martin.
Hey, Todd.
Did you see my comment?
Yes, but repeat it.
Here, if you shoot somebody, and you kill them, their family can sue you. And if he lives, he can sue you.
That's
Well,
true in
yeah.
most
Your
states.
home,
Yeah.
even though he breaks into your home.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty much.
They sue you for a wrongful death.
Yeah, that's a civil suit.
Yeah.
So yeah, they can do that pretty much anywhere. They can do it anywhere, but it doesn't mean that they'll win, but they can absolutely do it. I mean, we've heard the old stories of the guy falling through the skylight and cutting his leg on the lady's kitchen table that he was breaking into to begin with and then suing her. I mean, that's happened. That's absolutely happened, which is just bizarre. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's a bunch of bullshit.
I mean, and typically it's someone whose whole life was worth less than $50,000 in their income career, and they robbed you, and now the family thinks they hit the lottery.
oh yeah. Well, in some cases they have. I mean, my daughter, this is gonna be a pain in the ass, but she bumped a car in front of her in the rain, and both people called an ambulance.
Oh, whiplash, yeah.
But I mean, there's not even a scuff on the car because she just bumped him. But
They'll go through it. They'll see a chiropractor for a year, in a year and a half, 2 years, they have to settle it.
or they'll get a surgery that they were putting off.
Yeah, they'll get a check for $2.
Martin, not to change the subject. You
Please
asked
feel
a
free.
question earlier before you started the Zoom. You were talking about imprisoned writers.
Yes.
You asked who Solzhenitsyn was.
Yes.
He was a Russian guy named Alexander Solzhenitsyn. He was a captain or a sergeant, I can't remember now, in the Soviet Army during World War II. And he made a statement that wasn't against Stalin, but just questioned whether or not Stalin was doing the right thing. And they threw him in the gulags.
I was going to say
Yeah.
gulag.
And he was, he was an artillery officer.
Yeah, that was in like 44, I think.
Wow.
He didn't get out of prison. He was in the gulags, and then he was also exiled to Siberia for a number of years. I think
He wrote a very thick tome called the Gulag Archipelago.
Gulag. Yeah, if you've never read that, there's an abridged version of it too. If you don't want to read 7,000 pages, but it's a fantastic read.
I wonder if they got an audiobook.
7,000 pages, so I'm guessing he was there till his 60s.
What was it called
he wrote
again?
that book. So he was in the gulags, and he wrote that book literally one page at a time and smuggled out just thousands and thousands of pages. And it made the rounds through all these underground circles and eventually collated itself into a book.
What was the book called again?
The Gulag Archipelago.
Gulag Archipelago.
Definitely worth a read.
That title sounds familiar. I haven't read it, but that title sounds familiar.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if there's an audiobook version of that because
Did that come out in the 70s?
It was released. I think it was. Well, he got out of the Soviet Union in the 70s, but it was smuggled out. I think it was in the late 60s.
You mean he got out of Siberia?
When they unexiled him, he moved to America, and he hated America. He didn't make it back to the Soviet Union until the 90s after the wall fell.
I'm fascinated that he hated America.
Well, he didn't hate America. He saw America making a lot of mistakes that were going to lead it down a road that he thought would be authoritarian.
Yeah, he was
where we're at now.
He was fairly staunchly in agreement with Stalin and all that stuff. And that's part of the book is, it wasn't like he was some derelict critic of Stalin all his life. He was
a rogue officer.
Yeah. But
Speaking
it's a fantastic read.
Speaking of Russia, Brett Windsor got in and said he said they're starting to say that the rocket in Poland was most likely not Russian, and they're currently reporting on it over the last couple of hours.
I was talking to a couple,
Interesting.
My brother and some other military buddies today. We all had the same thought. It's peculiar that nobody's asking for serial numbers or manufacturer. It's just as likely that the Ukraine did this to pull Poland into it and NATO into it
Well,
Is
it's
likely
also
for a missile to go.
It's also very
outside.
common. Just a second. It's very common that when you've got surface-to-air missiles flying to hit other missiles, you have a lot of stuff come down that you didn't want to come down in certain areas. That's very common.
And I agree with that. The only thing that was peculiar was the timing.
Hold on,
Because
guys.
the Soviet Union denied that they had, done this. What they had done was hundreds that were 4 or 5 hours earlier, and this didn't appear until that much later. So that I mean, who knows? But
Good to see you,
people
Donald.
aren't asking the right questions.
Chad, what were you saying?
I saw a couple of different reports from different sources that stated it was most likely a Ukrainian defensive missile, like Sam was saying. They did recover parts of an engine from one of it, and it seems to indicate that it was a Ukrainian thing. But again, who knows? There's so much propaganda.
I mean, do the Ukrainians even have their own defensive military? I mean, because isn't everybody sending?
They've got the 300 series from their their Soviet days.
Right.
Plus, they've been getting anti-air systems from Europe. So
well, that's what I was saying. I was like, aren't we supplying, or Europe or somebody isn't a lot of people supplying all of that? Because weren't they running low on everything?
Yeah, they've been
have a lot
resupplying
of
with
new
a lot of
tech
old
that had zero time to learn.
So I mean, some of those signatures might not even be Ukrainian or Russian. It could be in another, but not necessarily from that country, but or not shot by that country, but.
It's just as likely that, in this salvo that Russia did hours before, it's just as likely that one went errant as it is that Ukraine staged it to draw NATO in. So.
I want to know who hit the pipeline.
You and everybody else.
Because that's like a Jimmy Hoffa question.
That supposedly has been solved, and it seems that it was actually, what was it? I might get this wrong. I think they were saying it was Switzerland or something that actually did it because they said they had the data, but they couldn't release it, which means that us or one of the other allies coerced them to do it.
Chad, did you like my thumbnail? Since we were talking about comics before and Calvin and Hobbes, I couldn't resist.
You never go wrong with Calvin and Hobbes.
Does anybody think it's wrong that that Hobbes both, and again, I'm not trying to be political, but does anybody think that there should be a law in place that you should be required to debate the competition in any election? Even if
absolutely.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like that probably should be a requirement. And then if you also are in charge of the vote tabulations, that you should probably recuse yourself.
Recuse yourself.
Recuse.
You're a candidate. You cannot be oversighting it.
I like Cameroon's big country, but yeah, I thought. I mean, the whole thing. Again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's all bullshit. I don't care what anybody says. I'm just kidding. I don't know either way, but. I just think it's odd. There's just lots. I think there's too many odd things.
Take the politics out of it in any other aspect. If you have a conflict of interest, they don't want you there.
Yeah, you should step out because then you just make it look so much better in your favor. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like what did she honestly contribute?
If you're securing your message, whatever, recuse yourself and put someone neutral in.
I always questioned. I never really question much until somebody does something for me to question. Like if you choose not to investigate something, okay, I'm going to question. If you choose not to recuse yourself, now I'm going to question because again, I'm a linear logic person. I'm just simple-minded. So it only helps Hobbes's case if she does and steps away, because if there's nothing for her to do, don't do anything. Let it go.
It creates more questions than
Correct.
answers.
Yes, and I don't like that. It's not that I'm questioning the election, but I'm just questioning why in the world do you even want to be involved? Like,
Yeah, you question logic, and then which forces you go down the rabbit hole, question the validity.
Right. Which I mean, maybe it's by design. I don't know. I don't care. But I know this. I'm going the hell to bed because it's late. I'm tired. So I appreciate y'all jumping in here for live and everything. We'll pick it up again on Thursday. Oh yeah. I had some of McFly's videos. Oh man. I can tell you one thing, I am beat. I can tell you. It has been a long week, and it's freaking Tuesday. By the way, we are off tomorrow, but please stay tuned for Thursday. We'll be back again on Thursday. We'll hang out, have some more chats. I like doing the Zoom. Good to see you, Cincy, Country, Andrew, Cloud Bear. Sorry I wasn't getting to it. By the way, don't forget, ! Ask, and you can ask us a question on the Zoom because I'm trying to go back and forth and hit some of your stuff, but the writing's really small over here because my Zoom's over here on the big screen. This is small screen. So hit ! Ask, and then I can see a question or a comment or whatever you got, because I want to make sure I get to, because all y'all have some really, really cool comments. And don't feel like you're bothering anybody by hitting. I want you to hit ! Ask because I want to see any good questions, or even ! Ask for comments. Yeah, we'll spell it out for you.
Nip it in the bud.
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean. So just do it. Don't not hit the freaking button. I love that Calvin Holmes picture. My thumbnails are getting fierce. I tell you, my thumbnail skills are awesome. Donald Graham, it was good to see you. Brett Windsor, appreciate you. Big Country Cole. Ganjuana, you sure were quiet today. Excuse me. Matthew, it was good to see you, sir. As always. Robert, thanks for jumping in for the time that you did. Chad, it was awesome to see you. Doing it wrong, good to see you. Brian Woodward, good to see you. I miss Duke controllers. Yes, I like all those things. Ron Hardcrackers, I appreciate you, sir. So good to see you. See Smokes, it was great to have you. Greatly appreciate you. And anybody else. See y'all Thursday.